Hey, what's up, Soul Family? This is Felicia, and welcome to another episode of Library Sessions, the home of what? Common sense, not confusion, where absolutely no bullshittery and foolishness is allowed. And of course, my own personal opinion and perspective thrown in for good measure, right? So welcome. I hope everybody is well this evening, you and your family. So I'll make this quick. Don't want to be here all night, 10, 20 minutes. 10 minutes. Let's try to do this in 10 minutes. So, of course, if you've been watching any type of news outlet, whether it's mainstream media or you've been out here in these social media streets today, you will know that there was a suicide bombing in Afghanistan today at the Kabul airport, at the entry gates of the Kabul airport, where unfortunately and sadly, last time I checked, there were 12 American soldiers that lost their lives, many others wounded, and some of the Afghani people lost their lives as well. Who did not see this coming, right? Supposedly, well, not supposedly, but there was a deadline of August 31st, a deadline agreement that Joe Biden had with the Taliban. Like, he had to get everything out, USA involved, the people, military, what have you, and they gave him an August 31st deadline. They agreed on that. I knew that they were not going to stand by that. Like, that wasn't a good deal at all. So, of course, it's not August 31st yet, and there was a suicide bombing today. Now, a lot of people are saying it's Trump's fault because Trump signed this peace treaty agreement with the president of Afghanistan or the head of the Taliban or whoever the man is. So they're saying that Biden is just carrying out what Trump already had in place. And I'm going to say this. Regardless of what Trump put into place while he was in office, he's not in office anymore. So what he put into place doesn't matter. What matters is the execution of this pullout from Afghanistan, where our troops have been for 20 years, which they should not have never been there in the first place. So yes, Trump he initiated the pullout of our troops. However, Biden is the one who executed the exit strategy. And in my opinion, and in the opinion of a lot of other people, his execution strategy was very poor. And this is what you see. There probably would have been a bombing anyway, but the simple fact that he didn't evacuate all the American citizens first. You're loading up all these Afghanistan people and dispersing them all over the United States. Not saying that all of these Afghanistan people that are coming to this country are terrorists, but I'm sure the thousands that are coming, there has to be some sleeper cells somewhere in there. Like, they're all not coming to be, productive, peace-loving American citizens. You can mark my words on that. So, and another thing that I find disturbing, but I am not the least bit surprised about, is that Biden is letting all of these Afghanis, the refugees, come over here because of the turmoil that's going on in their country, and they want to seek asylum here in America. And that's fine, right? My thing is, are these people being vetted properly? We supposedly have a pandemic going on. We're letting all these thousands of people come over here. I'm sure they were evacuated in such a rush. They're being dispersed all over the country. Biden is in talks with several governors of different states in America to have them resettle some of the Afghans, like a couple of thousand apiece in their states, right, to help them get on their feet and so they can have, I guess, a nice life here in America. I don't have a problem with that, whatever. What I do take issue with is that The southern border, the U.S.-Mexico border, is wide open. And, you know, a lot of people from Mexico that are not citizens, they're coming over here, and there's nothing being done about it. Again, we're supposed to be in the middle of a pandemic. All of our borders should be closed. We should not be bringing any more people over here since we supposedly have this deadly pandemic going on, right? But let me just read you something that I found here on the Biden administration. Now, this is according to the Examiner. You can go online and find this yourself, or I'll link a link to it. So it says Biden administration spending $86 million to house migrants in hotels, right? So let me just read a little bit of this for you. So it says the Biden administration has awarded an $86 million contract to a Texas nonprofit organization to house over 1,000 migrants in hotel rooms. The nonprofit organization Endeavors confirmed to the Washington Examiner that the Department of Homeland Security has contracted with Endeavors to provide critical services to migrant families. The contract will reportedly last for 6 months, and funds will be used to house 1,200 migrant family members. The contracts come after border officials warned that an unprecedented number of children, 117,000, will arrive at the U.S.-Mexico border in 2021. 80,000 unaccompanied minors arrived during the 2019 crisis on the southwestern border. Listen to this. I don't know, I keep getting a shadow here. Endeavors has been awarded $178 million from the federal government since 2011, with this most recent contract to house migrants making up their largest contract to date. I need to research Endeavors because I need to know whom this organization is. We need to know whom this organization is that our government is just giving all of, most likely, taxpayer money to, right? So this is the amount of money that they just recently received to house all of the people that are coming across the U.S.-Mexico border, right? So in January, the Biden administration changed the policy of its predecessor, which would be President Trump, by stopping the return of unaccompanied minors to Mexico, which was instituted as the COVID-19 pandemic began. So the administration will also allow border officials to fly migrant families and children to facilities along the northern border. Republican Representative Lisa McClain said the plan was deeply troubling, raising concerns about the spread of COVID-19. We already know these illegal, she called them aliens, but I don't like to call human beings aliens because we are not aliens and they are not aliens either. But these are her words. We already know these illegal aliens are not being tested for the coronavirus before being released into Texas communities, because a majority of them have been bused or flown to Texas. We cannot let this happen in Michigan. Okay, I read that because I want to read you guys something else. So, our president is just willingly bringing over thousands of Afghanistans. He's willingly letting thousands more of Central Americans, South Americans, and Mexicans come across the U.S.-Mexico border, and is investing $86 million into their stabilization and getting them stable in America. However, when the Haitians and the Cubans were trying to come over here, they were turned away. So I'm going to read you a little bit of this report from the New York Post. Cubans and Haitians fleeing by boat warned against traveling to the U.S. Okay? So, Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas on Tuesday vowed to turn away Cuban and Haitian refugees who attempt to arrive in the U.S. by boat amid crises in their countries. So they're seeking asylum because they're having a crisis in their country. Allow me to be clear. If you take to the sea, you will not come to the United States. This is what Mayorkas said at a news conference. And he is speaking on behalf of his boss, President Joe Biden. Cuba on Sunday had its largest protest in decades, with citizens denouncing the communist leadership and a lack of food and COVID-19 vaccines. And of course, the Haitian president was assassinated a couple of weeks ago. The Department of Homeland Security Secretary said the Coast Guard is monitoring the waters around Florida and Puerto Rico, and that any migrant intercepted at sea, regardless of their nationality, will not be permitted to enter the United States. Instead, sea migrants will either be returned to their home country or sent to a third country if they make a credible claim of fear of persecution or torture. Let me read that again, because he called the Haitian and Cuban people sea migrants. And the irony here is that the Homeland Security Secretary, Alejandro Mayorkas, is Cuban himself. His family, his parents fled to the U.S. when he was just a baby, I believe in 1960. So, the audacity, I don't know. Maybe he feels he's better than. Let me read that again. Instead, sea migrants, that's what he called these people, will either be returned to their home country or sent to a third country if they make a credible claim of fear of persecution or terror. Mayorkas, whose family fled Cuba in 1960 when he was a baby, said that so far there hasn't been a surge in boat refugees from the countries. Okay? I don't understand. Well, I do understand the difference here. Of course, Haitians and Cubans have this skin tone. They wear the brown skin. But so do a lot of Central Americans, a lot of South Americans, a lot of Mexicans. They have brown skin. I've seen Puerto Ricans and Mexicans as dark as me. But to bring in people from a country where America has a lot of adversaries, that we have been over there in war for like 20 years, that just set off a suicide bomb at the airport, killing some of our military men and injuring many others. These are the people that he's just flying into our country, dispersing all over our country. But Haitians and Cubans are being turned away. You can go somewhere else, but you can't come here. You are not welcome here in America. It's basically what the Biden administration, that's how they feel about brown-skinned people, namely people from Haiti and Cuba. So I would say this is one of the darkest days in Joe Biden's presidency so far. Again, I think his exit strategy was executed very poorly. Not saying that a suicide bomb or a suicide bombing would not have happened, but he had enough time in the beginning to get the Americans out first and foremost. That should have been his first priority. But instead, he chose to load up thousands of Afghanistans and bring them here. And I know people are saying, well, a lot of the Americans, they're outside the city limits. They're not near, their airport. They're not close enough. And they knew that, we were pulling out and they should have left back in April. None of that matters. They are Americans, right? If you have people, your citizens that are in another country, and you know there's a very high potential for there to be violence, like the Afghanistan, not all Afghanistan people, but like what they are capable of perpetuating, you always get your own people out first. It's just like if your neighbor's house was on fire and your house is on fire. You're going to take your fire hose or your fire extinguisher, and you're going to go run to your neighbor's house, and you're going to put your neighbor's fire out first and then hope that your house is still standing and not burned to the ground because you over here helping your neighbor. No. Anybody with sense, you're going to, self-preservation is the first law of nature. You're going to take care of your home first. You're going to put out your fire first. And then if you can, if you're able, then you go help your neighbor to put their fire out and to save their home. But anyway, I know this video was kind of all over the place, but I wanted to upload this because when I read about it, like I don't watch regular news. I don't turn on my TV and watch ABC, CBS, none of that. The news when I do get is because I open my laptop or I'll open up my phone and it'll be like in my Google feed. I'll see the news of the day. It's just really sad. Don't think for a minute, you guys, that this is over. This is just getting started. Trust me, we're going into 2022, and since 2020 onward, the end of 2019, because I think that's when the virus first started, nothing has been the same. I mean, just be prepared for whatever, okay? Be alert, pay attention, and just don't be surprised, if some turmoil breaks out on American soil. Me personally, I think it's going to happen. We already had 9/11. I guess people act like, nobody's going to come up here messing with America like that. Well, 9/11 proved that different, because they will. So, again, you guys, just be alert, pay attention, and I don't know what to tell you. Be at peace. That's what I say. Be at peace. But anyway, I'm rambling now, so I'm going to go. I'm hungry. I got to eat and get comfortable and chill out. I might do another video. I did want to talk about the R. Kelly trial, right? It is just, I've been reading about it. It is like the testimony. It's like crazy, y'all. Like some of the stuff I'm reading that he's been accused of. I already knew, he was kind of perverted like that, but just to hear the testimony or to read it is just mind-blowing. Anyway, y'all, I'm gonna go. Thank y'all for stopping by my channel. If you haven't if you have not subscribed to my channel, I would appreciate it if you do subscribe. And thank you for stopping by. Bye-bye.